and welcome to episode 18 of the Harsh Vocals podcast. I'm your host, Justin Corbett, and with me is Christian Renner. How are you doing today, man?
Pretty good. And I guess break time is over.
Yeah, last episode we kind of mentioned that things had slowed down a little bit as far as amazing releases, but the past 2 weeks have rectified things and put us right back on track to being standard 2024. Lots and lots and lots of great music the past 2 weeks.
Yeah, that honorable mention section is going to be kind of long.
Yeah, for both of us.
Yeah.
Before we get into that, the theme for this week's episode is going to be imagery in metal. I actually chose this topic because I was thinking about some things as far as album covers and how bands present themselves on stage and things like that. And, you know, how important is imagery really for a band? You know, is it critical that black metal bands put on the corpse paint and the spikes? Is it critical that the death metal bands look scary or wear other death metal t-shirts? I don't know. We're gonna deep dive on that a little bit later in the show. But before we get to that, of course, we're going to talk about the best music of the past 2 weeks. So I guess let's go ahead and get started with that. Christian, you have the first pick. This is Demiser.
Yep. We have Demiser with the album Slave to the Scythe. We got black thrash, speed metal, a combination of all three there. From South Carolina. The track that I picked is Carburated Speed. This here's a sophomore album from this band, formed in 2018, and this is going to become a common theme because I guess all three of my picks are sophomore albums.
Nice.
So who knew? You know, everything that I absolutely positively love about bands like Hell Ripper, Bewitcher, and Midnight, but add a little bit of, you know, aggressiveness that you would get from something like Toxic Holocaust, you know, that little thrash aggression. You put that all together and you just add just a tiny bit more speed, and this is exactly what you're going to have in Demiser. And this is my fun album of the week. Mm-hmm. This album was just a blast to listen to. The only question I had was they actually have a interlude instrumental, which I didn't quite understand. It's on there, and I mean, I think they even called it interlude. So it's like they needed a break or something. Maybe that's what, you know, if they play live, they're going to be like, okay, this here's break time. We'll be back.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure, but
got to give the fingers a rest.
Yeah, I guess. You know, I like this so much that I went back and listened to their debut, and it's not as quote unquote fun as this one. But if you can't get on board with a song titled Raw Fucking Vomit, which is on that debut album, can you really call yourself a metal fan?
I don't
think you can. So. Raw Fucking Vomit. So, I mean, this band obviously knows how to have some fun. I think they don't take themselves overly serious, which is something that I really dig about, you know, bands like Bewitcher and, you know, Hell Ripper and stuff. Like, if you've seen interviews with Hell Ripper, he's very laid back, very chill. You know, he doesn't take any of this stuff overly seriously. So, and I appreciate that because you do need some of that, because we have plenty of bands that take themselves overly serious. And, you know, that could probably be a talk in the imagery section as well.
Sure.
Yeah, so just a fun album.
Yeah.
I just really like this one.
As soon as I heard this one, I said, oh, Christian's going to absolutely love this. And then, you know, before I had even gotten a chance to tell you about it, you were already messaging me telling me that it was undoubtedly going to be a pick. So,
Yep. And I mean, we get promos and we have so much stuff to listen to. I very rarely ever listen to the promos unless I plan on doing a review for it. Mm. So I think Carrie actually told me, it's like, dude, you need to listen to this. And so I listened to the promo before the album came out, and I was on board before. And so I heard it maybe a week and a half before the actual release of this album.
Yeah.
So yeah, 100% on board. Fantastic album all the way through.
Yeah, I agree. It's not my, you know, preferred style of metal. You know, I'm not the biggest fan of speed stuff, but I love blackened stuff, and I do like some thrash. So it's kind of at that weird intersection where it leans more on the side that I like it versus the side that I don't. And this particular band, I thought it was a lot of fun. I think your descriptions are pretty much spot on for these guys. I do kind of think that the track you picked is not the best illustrative track, but we'll play it anyways. The one you picked is called Carbureted Steel. It has that weird spoken intro thing at the beginning, which I didn't really love, but it's still a good, fun track. You just got to bear with it. Give it 15, 20 seconds past the spoken word, and then you'll see how fun it can get.
Yeah, the main reason I picked this one is it has that super catchy guitar riff.
Yes.
That just goes throughout. And I could see this being a fan favorite live.
Oh, yeah. I bet it's a great live.
Like, this would be a fantastic pit song. So, the pit's going to go crazy. It's super upbeat. Yeah. And I mean, that's honestly the main reason I picked it. That intro, I get that. As soon as you get past that, though, it's like instantly
fun.
It gets going. Yeah.
All right, well, let's go ahead and play the track again. This is Demiser off of their album Slave to the Scythe, and the track is called Carburated Speed. Yeah, man, that is a lot of fun. You're right.
Yep. Yeah, I love bands that can have a good time because, I mean, anymore, the shape the world is in, we need more fun.
We definitely
need more fun. Yeah.
Well, my next pick is a lot less fun, a little bit more on the serious side. It's a band called Modern Rites. This is melodic black metal with some industrial style influences. It's an international band. One of them's from the U.S., one of them's from Switzerland. If you know the band Ara, A-A-R-A, I'm a huge fan of their stuff. The guitarist from that band is actually the same guitarist for this band. And you can really hear some of the similar sorts of black metal sounds that he plays in Ara in this as well. And the vocalist and multi-instrumentalist who does all the drums and bass and everything else is Archetype from the band Kuyashi from the US. You may be familiar with them, you may not, but these two together are putting out something that's very unique sounding, but also very reminiscent of both of their individual projects. I love this, but it's very melancholy, very dark, heavy, industrial infused black metal. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I've played this album probably 20 times since I first heard it. I bought it on vinyl, bought their previous album on vinyl. I know Christian, you did as well. It's just excellent all the way around. So if you like this track, I think this one does really illustrate what the whole sound is kind of like throughout the album, because it focuses on some of the industrial sort of sounds, the keyboards and whatnot behind the guitars. Again, the band is called Modern Rites. The album is called Endless, and the song that I chose is called Autonomy.
The thing that got me about this, and I wrote these notes before. I'm sure you saw the guitars for Abigor. Unalived himself, which is kind of sad. But I had actually written these notes before that even happened. And to me, this band sounds like the best parts of Abigor with the best parts of Deathspell Omega. Like if you put those two together, you kind of, that Deathspell Omega, that it has that kind of feel to it.
It has like the symphonic
sections,
kind of parts.
The symphonic elements.
Has, but like the industrial stuff, I really kind of think needs to be highlighted a little bit because it does sound like very dark wave oriented, like with the synths and the keyboard.
Yeah.
But it has like this black metal overlay at the forefront that just makes it sound truly unique. I mean, it's not like Labyrinthum Stellarum or something like that we talked about before that also does like a kind of symphonic keyboard oriented black metal. This is a lot more traditional black metal, like dark and melancholy.
Yeah.
It just has that like keyboard kind of sound behind it. It's really, really good. I hope people do check out the album because I thoroughly enjoyed this.
Yeah. I mean, I obviously liked it enough to buy the vinyl. So, and I mean, honestly, I think most of our, what we consider the best of the best is, we actually both agree on this. So
yeah, it's definitely one of the best picks of the past 2 weeks.
Yeah, all three of your picks would have been picks for me as well. So
sorry, I stole them.
It's okay. I definitely had to do Demiser. So
yeah, no, that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's move on. The next one is one of Christian's picks. This is the band Deadscape. You want to talk about them?
Yeah, Deadscape, or as I kept calling them this week, Dead Space. I don't know why I did that.
It threw me off.
It's Deadscape, one word. The album is called State of Decline. We have Mellow Death from Bulgaria. The track that I picked is Collapse to Disrepair. This is Mellow Death that leans more heavily into the melodic part of the genre, kind of like, after being so enamored with the new Dark Tranquillity album, End Time Signals, this felt a bit of a continuation on that because they have that same kind of melody. They don't sound like Dark Tranquillity, but they have the same heavy use of melody that Dark Tranquillity
has. It's like a
has.
modern classic sound. I know that's kind of a conundrum, but that's what it sounds like. It sounds like classic melodic death metal updated to a modern sound.
Yeah. And so, like, if you really enjoyed the new Dark Tranquillity album, I could see you enjoying this one as well. This here is one of those bands that I really need to pay attention to going forward, because if they continue in this vein, they could really become well known. I could see this hitting for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And I don't think they're 100% there yet, but if they continue to grow, I could see this being a phenomenal fucking band at some point.
Yeah, their technical prowess is phenomenal. Like, they're all excellent musicians. You can tell from the very first song how good they really all are. Yeah. The clean singing's great. The harsh vocals are great. The guitar work is amazing. The drums are excellent. The bass is fine, but it's bass. But
and I mean,
the only thing that they struggle with, I think, is a little bit of the songwriting, and it's like they're 80% there as far as like how to write songs that are not bloated, because there's not a whole lot of bloat on the album, but there is some. And if the songs were just a little bit more succinct and maybe just a little bit more punchy, like there's a couple of them that just kind of lack emphasis, I guess. Like if they bring those small things up just a little bit, this could have been like, a contender for end of the year lists.
And see, to me, I was not a fan of the cleans on this. I mean, they're okay, but they're not great. To me, if you're going to put clean vocals on your album, they have to be good.
Well,
they can't just be average.
I'm the harshest critic of clean vocals that
Yeah.
But compared to a lot of the other clean vocal singing we heard the past 2 weeks, this was pretty good.
Yeah.
There was a lot of real stinkers out there. So maybe I'm being a little lax in my judgment of them for their cleans, but I actually thought they were good.
Yeah, I was not a fan of them, but bear in mind that this is coming from somebody that this band should absolutely 100% not listen to, because you do you. Maybe it didn't work for me, but hey, it worked for you. So, but if this was harsh vocals all the way through, I think I would have actually liked it more.
I'll agree with that for sure.
But that's just my preference. That's just a personal preference. So,
all right. Well, let's go ahead and play the track again. This is Deadscape off of the album State of Decline, and the track is called Collapse and Disrepair.
All right, there we go. Who knew you could find such incredibly good melodeath in Bulgaria?
Yeah, right.
But you know that's what we do on this show. We scour the globe.
We sure
We're like
do.
the wide world of sports, only with heavy metal. So there you go.
Wide world of heavy metal. This should be our new
there you go.
new subtext.
Well, I mean, when you consider how the internet has made everything so much smaller, you know, like you know, back in the 80s, I would have never found a band from fucking Bulgaria.
Yeah,
like,
me neither.
That would not have been a thing. So, yeah, hey, it's great.
I agree.
Technology can be fantastic sometimes.
Yep, except for AI.
Yep, there you go.
All right. Well, moving on to my most fun album of the past 2 weeks. Spectral Wound, Songs of Blood and Mire. So Spectral Wound is melodic black metal / straight black metal from Canada. This is their fourth full-length album and the second album that I really have been exposed to them for. I listened to their previous one and I liked it. It actually made just outside of my top 30 in 2022 when it came out. But this one I'm almost certain is going to make my top 10 for this year. I have listened to this album probably 50 times since it came out 2 weeks ago. It's been on just constant repeat. I'm completely addicted to it. It's full of fun, catchy melodies, sort of the same way that like the Sidan album is. Maybe not as much punk infusion, but definitely a lot of like upbeat catchiness. And even the song titles are laughable. You can tell the Spectral Wound takes themselves seriously, but they also don't take themselves seriously at all. The track that I'm going to play is called Aristocratic Suicidal Black Metal.
There you go.
And I mean, the song is super catchy, really fun, and totally deserving of that title. I don't really know what else to say, but I loved this. I thought it was great. Christian, I know you enjoyed this quite a bit too.
Yeah, there's only one album this week that I thought was better than this. And it actually made me go back and listen to all four of their albums. Mm-hmm. And they don't actually have a weak album at all, but they have all gotten progressively better. And so like this here is the best album that they've done so far. And it's also one of those albums that the more you listen to it, the better it gets. It's one of those grower type albums. Even if you love it from first listen, you're going to love it even more after the 10th.
100%.
So yeah, it's fantastic record.
Yeah, I actually kind of feel that way about Diabolic Thirst too, their previous album. Yeah. So like I mentioned, it ended up outside of my top 30, but I didn't really give it like a ton of time that year. I mean, I listened to it and I liked it, and you know, I was so busy with life that I wasn't really listening to music in the same way that I am today. So like I enjoyed it, but going back and hearing it, you know, over the past 2 weeks, because I went back and revisited that one a lot as well, it's just as good as this album. They're both phenomenal, excellent pieces of music. Very excited to see what Spectral Wound does next, and I'm hoping they make a tour announcement soon because I would love to see them live.
No shit. Yeah.
Actually, as soon as I heard of Songs of Blood and Mire, I went online and bought a Spectral Wound shirt. So that's how much I like this album. And I bought both of those albums on vinyl. So that's how much I enjoyed this, if that tells you anything. But
could you imagine a tour with them and Sidon?
And Wormwitch? I would lose my shit.
Oh, fuck. That'd be so damn good.
It'd be super fun. Yeah. All right. Well, let's go ahead and play the track again. This is Spectral Wound off of their latest album, Songs of Blood and Mire. And again, the song name is Aristocratic Suicidal Black Metal. So much fun. I just want to go and listen to the album again right now.
Yeah. And you got to love black metal that is fun. It's again what we both like about Sidon. They know how to have a good time while still being, cult black metal, I guess. And
that's part of why I chose Imagery as the topic. I mean, we can interject that here, I guess, because like both of those bands stay true to the black metal aesthetic. Like if you look at their covers, they're both very clearly a black metal album. I mean, Spectral Wound is like all of their album covers are black and white with like maybe a tinge of color here and there. And like the latest one, Songs of Blood and Mire, it's like a wizard like hunched over, a pot and some crazy shit going on. It looks black metal, and it sounds black metal, but at its heart, there's a lot of fun as well. But then you read like the song titles and like, even though they could be taken very seriously, they're also very tongue-in-cheeky.
Yeah.
I think that's a very hard line to walk for black metal bands. I think they either have to like not take themselves seriously at all or be ultra super mega serious. And being able to like do the thing where you walk that line and are serious but also can see the humor in what you're doing, it puts you like at a class above all the other bands. So I'm thoroughly impressed with these guys. They've got a lifelong fan of me now, for sure.
Yeah, I'll definitely be checking out everything that they do going forward.
Yeah. All right, well, moving on to some real hardcore, true cult black metal that Christian chose.
Yep.
The band Hag.
I'm assuming it's Hag. It's got a line over the A, so I'm not exactly sure how you pronounce that.
Could be Hog.
Hog, maybe. The album is called Overstormskapte Fjell. Yeah, I probably completely butchered that, or gel, or maybe you don't pronounce the F. I don't know. But we have black metal from Austria. The track that I picked, I'm not going to try and say it again. It's the title track.
It actually translates to Over Storm-Tossed Mountains.
Well, there you go. We'll go with Over Storm-Tossed Mountains. Yeah, even though I am from Europe, I don't know how to pronounce this stuff. So
it's okay. We butchered so many.
Apologize to
we
people.
have butchered so many names on this show.
Yeah, I absolutely love this album, and there is one slight nitpick that I have with this, and it's that old school black metal production that they have here. It isn't terrible production, but it's thin, and so that's a me problem. That's definitely a me problem.
Actually, I was kind of surprised that you chose this one as your third pick, considering how averse you are to that. There are other amazing black metal albums that came out that are better production, but I liked this one a lot. I was kind of shocked because of the production value that you chose it.
Yeah, to be honest with you, I was a little surprised by it myself, but it's an album I just kept coming back to over and over again. These are songs that I feel like take you on a journey, and they're all kind of long, and not just because of the length. There's absolutely a ton of variety. Long songs that never get boring. That's something that I absolutely love about Opeth. And if you can pull that off, I'm 100% in. Now, this only has one person listed on Metallum. Now, I don't know if this is a single person band. The person's name is Thorn, and I'm not sure because there's also a picture like a lot of black metal pictures, the band off in the distance, and there's 3 people in the picture. So I don't know if this is a single person thing or 3 people in this band, but there's only one listed as musicians. This reminds me a bit of the band Drudk, Drudkh.
From Ukraine?
I don't know. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right either.
Yeah.
But mixed with a little bit of Nagelfar. So, I really like this, even with the production issues that I have with it. That kind of tells you how good this really is.
Yeah, the songwriting on this is excellent.
Yeah. And I mean, there's certain sections like in the track that I picked that just beautiful. It's just straight up beautiful. Just really well done. Everything sounds like it's there for a specific reason. Like none of this seems like it was forced in, or it just sounds like this is exactly what that song needed. And fantastic songwriting.
Yeah, the only thing I've noticed is that Spotify classifies this as an EP, but Metallum and other places classify it as an album, so I'm not sure where it actually falls. Yeah. But it is short overall. I think there's only 4 tracks total.
5. There's 5, but one of them is like an interlude. Mm-hmm. But I think there's 2 tracks that are over 10 minutes and then 2 tracks that are over 8. So you're getting a pretty close to, what we consider perfect length, between the 35 and 45 minute mark. So it's I would view it as a full album.
Yeah.
I don't see the EP moniker on
Yeah,
that.
I think anything that falls over the 30-minute mark, I think, is fine classifying as an album. But I agree with you. It has that very, classic early second wave black metal sound mixed in with, more modern ambient, epic sort of sounds. Taking you on a journey is actually a very apt description. I like this album a lot. It wasn't one that I spent as much time with as some others. I was honestly just addicted to Spectral Wound for the last 2 weeks, and our number 1 pick, which we're going to talk about in a minute. But I listened to this probably 3 or 4 times, and every time I listened to it, I appreciated it more. So it's one of those that you'll get a lot out of with repeated listens, and it's definitely worth your time. And like Christian did mention, this is probably the longest song we're going to play on this episode, so stick with it. I think it's worth your time, and if you like it, you'll definitely enjoy the album. So anyways, here you go. This is the band Hag, Over Stormkapt Fell, and the song with the same name as the album title. Yeah, parts of that are just absolutely majestic and beautiful. It's, and it's got that harshness too. It's got everything that I really love in that kind of epic, atmospheric black metal sort of sound. It's good stuff. Very good choice, Christian.
Yeah.
Very good choice.
Yeah, I was a big fan of that one.
All right. Well, moving on to our number one album of the past 2 weeks, which honestly should be no surprise to anybody who's listened to the show before. Amiensis Reclamation Part 2. So, I mean, we did an interview with Jim and Todd. If you haven't heard it, you need to go check it out. We learned a lot about not only their band, but what went into creating this album and what the future holds for the band. They're great guys. We've been keeping in touch ever since that recording, so it's kind of nice to make a friendship off the show with such talented musicians. But even without that, this would still be my pick of the episode. It is just an amazing album. Reclamation Part 1 was already sitting in my number 3 spot for the year, and then Reclamation Part 2 came out, and I gotta say it, I'm sorry, Eternal Storm, but you've been overtaken in vain. They're hot on your heels. The second half, Reclamation Part 2, is a lot more harsh than the first half of the album is. The black metal is a lot more at the forefront, especially in the track we're going to play, which is the first track off the album, which it has like weird little umlauts and stuff too, so I'm not sure 100% on the pronunciation, but it's Sulfurid is how I'm pronouncing it. This one, just hits the ground running with incredible melodies and black metal, and everything's about the sun. The whole album kind of focuses on nature and the sun and the moon and, how it's affecting the main character and the story behind everything. And, this is obviously starting out talking about the sun god and stuff. And I mean, it has some really memorable passages in it. And honestly, there's a lot of tracks on this album that have memorable passages. I'll be doing random stuff throughout the day and something will just enter my head and I can't stop thinking about it until I listen to it. I've probably listened to this album at least 50 times, just like the Spectral Wound, since we first got it. Yeah. And taking it as a whole, because it was intended to be a whole album, Reclamation Part 1 and Part 2 together, it is arguably one of the best albums I've ever heard in my life. Yeah. And I listen to a lot of music.
I would even go so far as to say, the last couple of years, this would have easily been number one end of the year list. Probably the last 2, 3, 4 years running. This year, that In Vain album is, but this is really close to that too. It's extremely close. I've kind of been flip flopping, and who knows? By the end of the year, maybe it takes over. I'm not sure, but holy crap, this album is so damn good. And like this being Bandcamp Friday, I hopped on there and bought a bunch of T-shirts and, their last album, Abreaction. So, I'm now a lifelong fan of this band. I absolutely love what they're doing, and here's to hoping that they continue that.
Yeah, me too. I mean, they've already told us they're working on new material as it is right now, so I will be a lifelong fan of Amiensis as well. Reclamation is going to go down as one of my all-time favorites for sure, and it might even end up being my album of the year for this year. It'll definitely be in my top 5. There's no way it'll fall that far. If you missed Part 1, I highly encourage you to listen to Part 1 first and then listen to Part 2. And even better if you can listen to them back to back, because that's how it was designed. Part 1 ends on an instrumental track that flows beautifully into the beginning of Part 2. The whole package, the whole concept behind it, everything has purpose. Everything was well designed. There's really not any bloat. There are instrumental tracks and there are instrumental portions of songs that are there, but they're purposeful. They lead you towards something else, and all of it feels like one cohesive story, one cohesive theme throughout. I just adore this. It's so freaking good.
See, I think, like sometimes instrumental tracks have a little bit of a bad rap, but the only time I dislike instrumental tracks is if they don't feel like they lead to anything. They lead to something. There's a very specific purpose that is there. And so it's additive instead of like a time waster, which some instrumentals just sound like. So yeah, I adore this album.
Yeah. So we're going to go play the track. Again, this is Amiensis off of Reclamation Part 2, and the song is called Sulfurid. Enjoy it. Yeah, I can't get enough of that track, Christian.
Yeah.
That Orb of Vanishing Light, Decaying Godchild. I mean, I can name off every track on the album. They're all just excellent, and I don't think I can really pick a favorite. I know that Amiensis actually has a giveaway going on right now. So if any of our listeners haven't yet purchased the album on vinyl or CD and they want a copy, Amiensis is literally just saying, hey, come like our page, like this post, and tell us what your favorite track is, and you'll be entered for a chance to win. So I encourage everybody who has not yet had that opportunity to purchase it to go and do that, because owning this is a must-have in my opinion.
Yeah. And hey, I bought some stuff off of their page today. Bandcamp Friday, the bands get 100% of the proceeds on Fridays. So, if you're going to buy it, definitely try and buy it on a Friday. But yeah, really reasonable on their t-shirt prices and everything else. So yeah, throw these boys some money. They could, in today's metal scene, they could probably use every bit of help that they can get.
Yeah, definitely. All right. Well, that does it for our picks for the week. Let's go ahead and move on to our honorable mentions. Christian, you want to go through your list first?
Sure. The very first one that I'm going to talk about, I actually contacted this band because I was so impressed with this album. And, if this wasn't the, quote, Harsh Vocals podcast, I would have actually chosen this band, but they do not have harsh vocals. But as a matter of fact, their vocals are probably some of the best that I've heard in a long time. The band is called Sidewinder. The album is called Talons. This is a stoner doom rock album from New Zealand, of all places. I mean, not usually my thing, but this album is absolutely amazing. Hopefully they'll see a vinyl release on this and I'll be on top of this. But if you're into stoner or doom metal, even in the slightest, give this one a shot. Her vocals are just, gobsmackingly good. So if that tells you anything. Then let me go a little bit quicker now. All for Metal. The album is called Gods of Metal. This is just straight up heavy metal from Germany/Italy. If Dream Evil and Manowar had a baby, you would have All for Metal. It can be cheesy, but it's still catchy and good. Then the band Nails, Every Bridge Burning.
Now that might be the best 17-minute long record ever written.
Yeah. This is grind from Oxnard, California. And to me, best grind album I've heard all year, hands down.
See, I think the Knoll album is slightly better. I'm still totally in love with As Spoken, and I'm super excited to see them in the Devastation on the Nation tour soon. But Nails came out of left field for me. Like, I had never heard them before. I knew of them, but I had never really listened to them before this album. And then I heard this, and I was just immediately floored. It's definitely the second best grind album I've heard this year, for sure. And for the fact that it's only 17 minutes long, it feels like it goes by too fast every single time I hear it.
Yeah.
Because every single song is just catchy and fun and fast, and then it's over, and you got to listen to it again.
Yeah,
it's great. It's truly great. So I'm thoroughly impressed with Nails, and I need to spend more time with their past discography.
Maybe, just maybe, they've figured out a way to game the system. Just do 17-minute albums, and then you'll get way more plays on Spotify.
Possibly.
You get paid per play, so maybe that's a thing.
Can you ever be a headliner, though, with 17-minute albums? You're doomed to be an opener for the rest of your life.
That's the shortest concert ever. Yep. It's like, oh, wait, we're done? Why are the lights on? It's only 7:30. Yeah. Then after that, we have a band called Endless Chain. I was a big fan of this. The album is called Agony. This is prog-themed goth metal from Finland. I'm okay with the clean singing. Justin, I know you weren't really...
So this, if the clean singing sounded different or better, I would have loved this album, because there's so much in here that's just incredible. It's like one of those where it's 80% amazing and 20% clean vocals that I hate, except that it's probably more than 20%. There's a lot of cleans on the album.
Yeah, I think clean vocals out, percentage-wise, it's about 70-30 to harsh. Mm-hmm. And I think if they did that the other way around and did 70 harsh,
100%.
30 clean, I think this would have been an easy pick for me.
Yeah, for me too.
But I like the cleans. I thought they were okay. But I could, I could definitely see, maybe not for everybody, but the music, absolutely fantastic.
Agreed.
Then we got Flesh God Apocalypse, the album Opera, symphonic death metal from Italy. Not sure why this didn't click with me, as it's just as good as all their other albums. And I'm starting to wonder if I'm starting to feel a little bit of fatigue with Flesh God Apocalypse. It's very, very similar. And
all the
this
parts
one here seemed
all the parts that are metal are very similar to previous albums.
Yeah.
So like their last album, I actually liked a lot. This one, I just couldn't connect with it. It's like, you're right, it's more of the same. It's kind of boring. The operatic stuff is a cool idea, but it doesn't work as well as it should, I guess. I don't know. I feel like this is an album that I wanted to like a lot more than I did, if I'm being honest.
Yeah. I mean, this here is one of those albums that, maybe it didn't click with you or I, but I could see...
Oh, yeah, definitely. Other people could love it.
I could definitely... Other people absolutely love this. I mean, it's definitely worth checking out. If you're into that, that symphonic death at all, give it a shot. Mm-hmm. It might work for you. Then we have Nile, the Underworld Awaits Us All, Tech Brutal Death from Greenville, South Carolina. This album is very, very aggressive. It is fantastic when you're listening to it, but it kind of falters after it's over. You tend not to remember stuff.
Yeah.
Now, while you're listening to it, you're absolutely 100% enjoying it, but you can't. It's hard to recall something after it's done. But that could again be a me problem, not necessarily.
It might be an us problem. But, I don't know. I feel the same way. Like the first couple times I listened to it, I wasn't feeling it at all. I was just kind of like, it's just not clicking with me, But I kept listening to it, and probably around the fourth listen, I was like, okay, I'm starting to hear the parts that I really like, and I'm enjoying certain songs a lot more. It's definitely a grower of an album, for me at least. And, obviously, all the songs are based on stories from the Book of the Dead. And I'm sure you've seen all the memes going around about, the song being hung upside down and force-fed shit by the four apes or whatever. The lyrics are basically like, I do not want to eat shit. Feces is what I detest. Do not put that near my mouth. I'm sure I'm butchering the lyrics even, but the memes are hilarious. And, it's a very good album. I don't think it's going to be anywhere near my best of list, but I liked it enough that I bought concert tickets to see Nile when they come in 2025 to support the album. So, but I didn't buy the album on vinyl. So I guess that's where I'm at with this. I think it might be better live than it is on recording.
Yeah, it might be one of those things that once you see it live, I'm sure they'll have the vinyl there. You'll pick it up.
Perhaps. Yeah, perhaps.
Yeah. But I kind of felt the same way. Then next we have a band called Blacklist with Murderous Intent. We have thrash metal from Blackpool, England. Vocals reminded me of a more aggressive Billy Milano. For you old school metalheads, you'll know MOD or SOD. When he's doing the shout style, every so often he does, it sounds straight up black metal vocals.
I found this band about a month after the album released. We missed it when we were going through our normal cycles. It just didn't show up on Spotify on time or whatever. So this is not a new album. It's from a couple weeks ago. But this might be my favorite thrash album of the year. It's a weird mixture of thrash vocals, like those shouted style vocals, and then black metal vocals that aren't exactly like the screechy sort of black metal vocals. They almost sound kind of more like a grindcore style black metal vocal. And it's so diverse throughout the album that you never really know what you're going to get. And I actually really like that. I think that was one of the things that Christian didn't particularly love about it. But for me, it kept me on my toes. It kept me interested. I never got bored with the shouted style. And even though I wouldn't call this a blackened thrash metal album, there are blackened aspects to it. It's incredibly interesting. I got to say, it's definitely, if not my favorite thrash metal album, the most interesting thrash metal album of the year so far. And one that I've gone back to and listened to at least 10 or 15 times since I discovered it. It's just great. This will probably make near my top 30, if not in my top 30 for the year. So it's an excellent, excellent album. And just so you know, if you try to find it just by looking for Blacklist, there's like 60 bands called Blacklist. So you might have to search by the album name, which is
with Murderous
Intent. That's right. So
yeah,
you may have to search for the album name.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the same for me. The more I listen to it, the more I like it. So, who knows? It could definitely move up for me. Then we have the band Ancients with two eyes, Beyond the Reach of the Sun. We have Extreme Prog from Vancouver, Canada. Really well done, even though this didn't get its hooks into me. I can see this absolutely working for others, though. And that's why I put it in the honorable mention. To me, there's a lot of bloat on this album.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Mileage may vary.
I've actually really liked Ancients since like the mid 2010s. They put out 2 albums, Heart of Oak and Voice of the Void, and I was a big fan of both of those. I was very much looking forward to this album, especially since it had been 8 years since their previous one. And honestly, if I'm being completely honest, it was a bit of a letdown. There are parts in the album that are great. I've heard people compare them to a mixture of Opeth and Mastodon, and I think that is sort of where their sound has developed to, but it's like the least enjoyable parts of both bands mixed together, in my opinion.
Yeah.
That said, there are parts that I enjoy. It's just not captivating enough, and it's not succinct enough to keep my interest or make me want to listen to it more than a couple of times. That said, there are going to be people that absolutely love it, and I'm sure we'll see it on the end of your list because it is incredibly well produced and it sounds great. Yep. It's just not, it's not for me. I've kind of fallen out of love with them on this album. So,
yeah, I completely agree with that. But I'm sure there's going to be people out there that are, raving about this come the end of the year.
The thing about metal is subjective. Everybody can find different things to enjoy.
And, another reason that I threw it in here in the honorable mention section, because, even though it didn't work for me, it doesn't necessarily mean it won't work for you. Mm-hmm. Then we have the band Deliver the Galaxy, Bury Your Gods. We have Mellow Death from Quedlinburg, Germany. I really dug this one. It would have been a pick if there was some editing with this. Yeah. There's bloat. There's definitely some bloat on here, a little bit of editing, and this album would have been a lot better.
Yeah, there's two tracks that just shouldn't be on the album. There's 2 tracks that just aren't of the same level of quality as all the other tracks. So it's like 11 of the 13 tracks are excellent, and then there's 2 that are just toss-aways. And if they had just edited those out, man, this would have been a pick for me too, because I loved most of this album.
Yeah. It's, again, what we talk about, 80% fantastic, 20%, yeah, and almost exactly 20%. You take I'm pretty sure we agree on those same 2 songs.
Yeah.
You take those out, and you have a much stronger album, much stronger. Then finally, I know this seems a long time, but we have the band Winter Sun.
A long
their
time.
Album Time Part 2. Symphonic Melodeath from Helsinki, Finland. Let me just start out by saying this album has absolutely fantastic guitar work. To my ears, though, way too much bloat on this album. 6 tracks with 2 instrumentals, and the intro track is simply horrific. That intro, I abhor that intro. I know I can just skip, and I get that, but number one, it's horrific, and it's 4 minutes long. It's way too long for a damn intro track. And if you want to do it as an instrumental, okay, I guess, but you don't want to start out a heavy metal album with a 4-minute intro track that sounds nothing like your other material.
Yeah.
It almost sounds like this was on the cutting room floor, maybe a musician in the next room over was working on some stuff and they threw it on this album. Because it doesn't sound like it fits. This is an album that a lot of people have been waiting for a long time for.
Yeah.
And this has been rumored and talked about, and then it didn't come out, and then it did, then, another announcement, and then that doesn't happen, and then finally, here we are. So I could see, if you're a super big fan of Winter Sun, you're probably going to find something to like here.
Even if you're not, I think you can find things to like. Like, it's not a bad album by any means. Like the actual meat and potatoes songs on the album are pretty good. His harsh vocals are great. The music is great. The guitar work, like you said, is phenomenal. It's just like they wanted to make everything established as like a Japanese kind of theme with those instrumentals in the beginning, which I thought the sound was cool, but it went on for way too long. Like if it had been a 30-second instrumental and then gone into the music, I'd been like, okay, fine. You know, it's an intro track, but whatever. It's 30 seconds. 4 minutes was absolutely too long. I agree with you on that. And if that same sort of Japanese style of rock guitar had been built into the metal throughout the entire thing, I think that would have been really cool too. But you're right. It doesn't really fit. It's just this weird instrumental piece that has nothing to do with the rest of it. And then there's a second one. Like right at the end, which you weren't expecting. It's like, is this what is going on with this album? You know, the meat and potatoes of it are not bad at all. This is like an album that I would give like a 5 out of 10 to, because there's a lot of flaws. The good stuff is pretty good. It's definitely listenable, but only about half of it is listenable, and it's not much of an album. It's only 6 songs. So, I mean, I'm not the biggest Winter Sun fan. I wasn't waiting for this album like a lot of other people were. I heard a lot of hype leading up to it, and I've seen a lot of discourse since, and the general consensus kind of agrees with everything that Christian and I are saying. Everybody's kind of like, yeah, it's okay. It wasn't worth waiting 8 years or whatever it was for, and it didn't live up to the hype, but it's not a bad album. I just don't think you'll see this anywhere near any end of your list.
Yeah, I mean, when the songs themselves are playing, I'm in. I like them. I enjoy the album. It's just, those instrumentals just leave a bad taste in my mouth. And again, could be just a me problem again, but I don't see it, because I've seen other people complain about the same thing. So, you know, I'm not alone on this, but hey, if it works for you, you know, more power to you. Yeah. You know, I'm obviously not the be all end all of everything that's great. So
right. And there's something for everybody. And all right. Well, moving on to my honorable mentions. I'm going to try to go through mine a little bit quicker. The first one we have is Phenochrist. They put out an album called Cremation Pyre. This is death metal from Portugal. A little bit progressive in some of the songs. There's a lot of like kind of sludgy melodies mixed in places too. I thought this was a really interesting album. It's one of those that the more time you spend with it, the more you appreciate it. And I discovered it at the tail end of this cycle, so I haven't spent as much time with it as I'd like to. It's probably one that I'll go back to a bunch to kind of build my appreciation for, but it's excellent. Did you get a chance to hear this one, Christian?
Yeah, I like this one a lot. There's a lot going on here. Mm-hmm. So, you know, maybe if you're not into straight death metal, give this one a shot anyway, because, you know, I think this transcends just straight up death metal.
Yeah, agreed. Next is another of those albums that we didn't discover on the week it was released. The band called Abagorum. They put out an album called Foretaste of Justice. This is blackened doom metal from Russia. I think this came out about a month ago. Kind of reminds me of that Emorium Rosewater Black album we talked about a couple weeks ago. Very pretty, very dark and slow paced, but also blackened. I liked this a whole lot. Did you check this one out?
Yeah, I liked it too, but it was like a 6 out of 10 album for me. The slowness just doesn't vibe with me usually. Yeah. So yeah, it was definitely well done. Definitely should give it a shot. Yeah. Listen to it if this is in your wheelhouse or whatever.
I think it's kind of
I could see people enjoying
maybe more than the Emorium album was. This is kind of a mood album, like Christian likes to call things. Yeah. When I listened to this, I was not in the best of moods, so it hit me just right, I think. So maybe that has something to do with my review of it, but I enjoyed it a lot. And if you like that kind of music, I think you will too. And number 3 for me is a band called Dawn Treader. They put out an album called Bloom and Decay, which has one of the coolest album covers of the year. It's like this pretty flowerful fields with these headless human skeletons with flowers blooming out of them. It looks really badass. Anyways, this is anti-fascist atmospheric black metal from London. It's their second full-length album. This thing is beautiful all the way through. Yep. There's a couple of spoken word sections that I'm not the biggest fan of, and honestly, that's the only thing that kept this from being a pick for me, is because those spoken word tracks really hinder my enjoyment of the album as a whole. Yeah. But everything aside from those spoken word tracks is like 10 out of 10. I mean, I love really melodic, pretty, atmospheric black metal, and that is exactly what this is. So if you like that kind of music too, you will 100% enjoy this, except for possibly the spoken word parts.
Yeah, that and honestly, the spoken word parts, you have such a good vibe going, and then that hits, and it just kind of takes you out. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, take those out, and this would have been a easy pick.
100%. Moving on, Generation of Vipers. They put out an album called Guilt Shrine. This is progressive sludge hardcore from Tennessee. If you can imagine Metallica as a sludge band, that's what this would sound like.
Yeah, now that you say that, I can hear that.
Yeah. That's how it hits me. I mean, it's very catchy, very simple but fun riffs like Metallica does. I thought this was great. If you like that kind of music, I highly recommend it. Next is Coldbrand. They put out an album called Engine Scancel. This is black metal from Norway. It's their 4th LP. This is pretty traditional black metal with very high level production. It's a great album. I'm honestly surprised this wasn't Christian's pick for his third choice, because I thought he was going to absolutely love this. This would have been my third pick if I hadn't gone with the Modern Rites. It was very, very close. So highly recommend Coldbrand's latest album. Definitely check that out if you like classic black metal sounds. Next is Concrete Winds. They put out an album called Concrete Winds. This is also death metal / grindcore from Finland. It's their 3rd LP. This one is similar to the Nails album, and I've heard a lot of contrast, between the two because they came out on the same week and have similar sort of vibes going with them. I like the Nails album better. I think it's a little bit more fun, but this one is a little bit more aggressive, if you can even believe it. But if you like grindcore, you can't go wrong with either of those picks. They're both awesome. Next is Black Raptus. It's an album called Like a Sharp Blade. This is black metal from Italy. Their themes are Satan / death / crime. I always like it when they put crime as a theme. It's very sharp and harsh black metal. Yep. There's melody in there, but melody is not the focus. It's classic black metal with some melody built in. I liked this a lot. I didn't spend very much time with it because I was too wrapped up in Spectral Wound, but I did listen to it probably 3 or 4 times, and it's great. There's just a glut of good black metal the past 2 weeks.
Yeah, this almost was a pick for me, and the one thing that I really noticed about it is it's very direct and to the point black metal. Mm-hmm. They're not fucking around. They're not trying to be artsy or whatever. This is straight into the point black metal.
Well, crime is one of their themes, so it has to be.
Yeah, there you go.
And then my last one is Ellende. They put out a re-recording of their old album, Toadbringer. The new one is called Toadbringer N. I'm not sure what the differentiation with the extra IN at the end of the name is, but it's a re-recording of their previous album, and I have to say it is magnificent. I love Ellende. I've always been a fan. Their old stuff's great. The re-recording is just absolutely beautiful. It's technically perfect. So if you haven't listened to this yet, I strongly recommend checking it out. If you're not a fan of Ellende, this is a good starting place for them. It's just very beautiful, atmospheric black metal. They're in AOP's stable of artists, so they're one of my favorites. And actually, they're a guest on the Blast from the Past track we're going to play in a little bit. So big fan of Ellende. I recommend listening to this, even though it's not a new album. It's worthy of an honorable mention for sure.
Yeah, I don't think I even listened to this because, we already have so much to listen to already that, if I see re-recordings of an old album, I usually don't bother, but I'll have to check it out.
It's beautiful. I think you'll love it, Christian. It's really, really good. And that does it for honorable mentions. So let's go ahead and move into our topic, which, as I mentioned at the top of the show, is imagery. So I picked this for a few different reasons. Number one, I was scrolling through Instagram, looking at a bunch of different various band pages, and I saw this video of a lesser-known black metal band getting ready to go on stage, and they were outside dipping their clothes into mud puddles and then throwing powder on their clothes to try to make themselves look as disgusting as possible before they went on stage. And I was like, that's dedication. They want to do as much as they can to get that look, that crusted, risen from the earth, dead, classic style black metal look, and then also not so long ago, Glenn Benton of Deicide fame was making comments about Tomb Mold and disparaging how they dress. And I'm sure, you're familiar with Tomb Mold. They are from Austin. Yeah. They wear, quirky t-shirts and short shorts most of the time when they perform. They're not exactly dressed like what you would expect a typical death metal band to look like. And then, of course, we've had several discussions with musicians that have come on the show about performances and how seriously they take things. The black metal bands, do they do the corpse paint? Do they wear the spikes? Do they, do all the classic black metal stuff versus do they just show up and play, And, Groza, for example, we talked to him, they show up with veils covering their faces basically, and then they just wear, black clothing. Some artists tend to do that to make a statement that the music is not about them. They're not trying to become famous. They're not trying to, get some sort of recognition. They just want their music to be heard, and they want their music to be the focus. And I've noticed a trend in black metal. I'm sure everybody has that is sort of the aesthetic that has become popular. There's a lot of bands that do that now. Garia, Uwada, MGLA, Groza, and even on the other side of that, Ice, they all wear white with the white shiny masks so you can't see their faces. And even Mephrash, they wear like these cleric cloaks with, weird masks on them as well. So they obscure everything. So I'm just thinking to myself, how important is this imagery, in the music process? Because when we're sitting at home, listening to these hundreds of albums every week on Spotify, we don't necessarily know the bands. We don't know who they are or what they're about. We're just taking the music at face value. The only real connection we have to make with the bands is the cover art, which is also part of the imagery for the album. Yeah. And I mean, sometimes we don't even pay attention to that. We're just focused on the music. But cover art can definitely make or break an album. If it's really bad, it can dissuade you from checking the album out, or maybe even giving it multiple chances if it needs that. But if it's excellent, sometimes it can trick you into listening to something that's bad too. So it's a double-edged sword. And so I was just thinking about all of this different kind of stuff, and I wanted to bring that to the table and, see what you thought about imagery and music, Christian, and how important it is. Do you think that black metal bands have to keep up appearances just because of the legacy that exists? Or do you think that it's time for black metal bands to just show up wearing other band shirts and jeans? Do you think death metal bands have to look a certain way to play their kind of music, or can they just show up wearing, a Sailor Moon t-shirt and short shorts? Like, I mean, is there a dress code to be part of metal, or is it, is every band different and unique and it doesn't matter at all?
See, and I would go so far as to say that I think some of this may be dictated by your age. I'm an old dude. I'm 55 years old. Back in the day, we didn't have the internet. So, like, if you were at a record store and you're flipping through albums, a lot of times you would pick an album based on how cool the album cover looks. And that's how you would, this looks badass. I should try this. And you would buy records that way. That's not really, as important nowadays. But, even back then, there was it almost felt like there was a dress code, especially thrash. I was big thrash. I've been a thrash fan my entire life. And, skinny jeans, high top Nikes, bullet belts, and, your favorite black t-shirt and your battle vest. And, that's something that continues to go, forward now. There's almost like a dress code for the fans. And so, yeah, I think it's, in the modern day, I think it's more on how you view yourself. And there's no wrong answer here. If you want to go on stage with short shorts, or you want to go on stage with thong underwear and just play guitar, hey, more power to you. If the music is good, the music's going to be good. So whatever your image is, I'm completely okay with it. So I personally don't have a problem with how anybody dresses or chooses not to dress. I don't know. But to me, the imagery, is it super important for my enjoyment of the music? No, it's not at all a requirement for me to enjoy the music. Does it maybe help things in a live setting? Probably. Like when I saw Sidon in Iowa City, I saw him in a coffee shop, and they were on a bill with somebody that I don't even know what the hell they were doing. But, it wasn't like a metal show, but Sidon was there. And, they get up on stage with the corpse paint and the whole 9 yards and shit. And it did add something to it. It definitely showed what they were about. So it can add things. Do I think it's 100% necessary? No, but that's a personal preference on your end. So, but there's certain things that are just about metal that, I mean, my wife actually, and I'm going to give her a shout out because I asked her, like, when you think of metal, what's the one thing you absolutely positively think of? And she said, unreadable band logos. And, yeah, that's
part of the imagery too.
Yeah. Like, I'm sure people know the band Sanguisigabog. Yeah. I'm good at reading reading band logos, and I can't make that out at all. Like, I got nothing. But so
it's because of the
there's
slope.
Definitely,
it's because it slopes at the end that you can't read that one. Yeah. I agree.
It's super hard. So if we wanted to get into like other things that are, common in metal that aren't in other genres of music, the themes are a big thing. There's, metal tends to stay in the dark and
sure,
maybe satanic lyrics, or obviously not power metal bands, but you definitely have certain things that are.
Well, I mean, even power metal bands even have their own imagery that they focus on. I mean, everything in power metal is fighting dragons and the glory of battle, and even riding rocket ships in space. Like, I mean, anything that is fun or whimsical or fantasy based, that's kind of power metal's thing. I mean, there's a big power metal festival going on right now, and like I've seen a bunch of pictures of people wearing medieval armor and like carrying around swords and waving plastic laser swords in the air. And I mean, there's definitely like an aspect of that subgenre that is very heavily focused on the imagery, but they don't necessarily get as much acknowledgement from the metal community for it as like black metal or death metal does, because in black metal and death metal, it's just so much more prominent, I guess. Like in black metal, everybody's Satan, everybody wants to make it as dark and evil as possible. How many metal album covers in the black metal realm have a lone figure looking at a castle? Like, I mean, there's fucking thousands of them, and death metal, how many of them just has pictures of like random ass demons doing stuff? Like, I mean, that imagery is here to stay and it'll never go anywhere. And it's part of our culture and heritage. So I don't want it to, but, is it critical in today's environment? I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think so either. And I mean, when you see some of these bands on Facebook, I'm not going to name any names, but like when they've played a show, it's always like, we've completely destroyed Wisconsin, like, or, be prepared, Minneapolis, you're next. Or, like, this over the top, like, we're going to come and burn down your whole city. And okay. Nobody actually thinks you're going to burn down the city, but okay. So, maybe it's at this point, my age, where I don't take that very seriously. Maybe somebody in their 20s just getting into metal would take it seriously. I don't know. But to me, like, where I just completely fall on this is do whatever you think will help you sell records, and you do you.
Yeah, I think
party on.
I think you're right about the age
whatever
thing. Looking back, I mean, I remember conversations with friends of mine who were new to concerts or new to metal that were going to some of their first concerts with me, and like they were legitimately anxious or scared to attend a Slayer concert or a Slipknot concert or bands like that. They're like, what if I get attacked? What if I get stabbed? What, crazy shit happens at these shows. And I'm like, no, I mean, the worst thing that'll happen is you'll get knocked down in the pit and somebody will pick you up, unless you, put yourself in danger by hanging over a railing or something. Nothing bad is really going to happen. And, I've been to hundreds of concerts in my life, and I've seen some people get hurt, from crazy stuff. But honestly, like, the most crazy show I've probably ever seen was the one I went to a couple weeks ago when I went to see 200 Stab Wounds, and not necessarily because of the theatrics of the band or the craziness of the crowd. It was literally just because of how many people were there. I had never been into a concert that was so tightly packed. Like, I could not maneuver around the room. I couldn't, I couldn't even do anything because there were so many people there. It was like we were sardines, and everybody was, headbanging and moving side to side. And it was just like people were bumping into you. And I was standing at the back so I could record portions of it for the site, and the pit. I mean, it was a pretty serious pit for a relatively small venue. And we had people, jumping off the stage and crowd surfing. They were getting up and running around behind the band members and then leaping off. I mean, I've seen all that stuff before. It's nothing new to me, but the amount of it that was happening in such a tightly packed area added to the danger element, I guess.
And hey, whatever enhances your enjoyment of it, as long as you're not hurting somebody else, party on. That's all I can say. I mean, there are definitely certain things, like certain lyrical themes that bands will talk about. You know, the industrial and urban decay. You hear that a lot in a lot of thrash albums. Mm-hmm. Of course, long hair. Long hair's a metal thing.
Yeah, but I mean,
except when you go bald like me.
Long hair is part of the imagery. I mean, I don't think it would be a real metal show if you didn't see at least one long-haired dude up on stage, you know, swinging his hair in a big circle as he played a guitar. Like, that's something you expect to see at every show. It's part of the culture, you know? I mean, could you go and have a bunch of chrome domes up there? Sure. I mean, that could happen. But, I mean, usually at least there's one guy who has the long hair who's going to headbang as hard as he can. And even if they're not, you know, the other guys are still going to headbang. It's just not going to be as visually stimulating, I guess.
And I mean, something else that I've always noticed about metal is metal's the only music genre that has odd-shaped guitars.
Oh, yeah.
That is a straight-up metal thing. You know, the Flying V, the Explorer, you know, BC Rich, their whole line is all about, you know, more aggressive-looking guitar shapes and shit. So you got that. You know, I've seen this more lately, that other genres of music have started mosh pits. I've seen it at punk shows. Yeah. Definitely at punk shows.
Well, it originated with punk. I don't think it was a metal thing to begin with. I think metal stole that from punk.
Yeah. I'd probably go there. But, you know, the stage diving and stuff like that, that's definitely early days of punk and metal. Mm-hmm. And it's just, you know, continued. Now you got, I've never been a part of this, but, you know, like when you see the videos of the Wall of Death, mm-hmm. that always like, Jesus Christ, that seems like a terrible idea.
That's like a hardcore thing that particular subgenre created, though. I mean, like I've seen some that are just like unbelievable how big the crowd is, and it's, you know, they just crash into each other like that. I mean, and it usually happens at like a Knock Loose show or something. I mean, it's definitely part of the hardcore community to do that sort of stuff. I've never seen that happen at a metal concert. But then, you know, we also have bands like Frozen Soul who are super into Magic the Gathering, and they have like big pits where people sit down and play cards in the middle of their show. So, you know, I mean, it's not exactly the most metal sounding thing ever, but, you know, it's unique. I know Amon Amarth like does the row thing with the people.
Yep.
You know, so I mean, there's different ways that they can incorporate that sort of stuff, you know, for crowd interaction in their live shows. And some of it's better than others.
I've seen the Wall of Death at a Slayer show, mm-hmm. but I've also seen a large scale Slayer show at a festival where they had like 9 pits going all at the same time. Mm-hmm. Like you just look back and you just see like half a mile away from the stage, there's a pit going on, and and it's enormous. It's just kind of crazy. And, you know, a perfect example, I think all of this, though, boils down to just how this is fun. You know, nobody's going there to cause trouble. Usually I can't say 100%, but no, people are going there to have a good time, to let some of their aggression out, to be with other people that enjoy this music, and, you know, the imagery and everything about it. Like when I go to a show, I feel like I'm with my people.
Yeah.
And so, like, you know, we all love this, you know, no matter what's going on outside of that venue, you know, politically or in the country or with, you know, what's happening in the world or whatever. For that 2 hours, you're just with your people and you have a smile on your face and you're having a good time.
Yep.
So however that works for you is fine with me.
Yeah, same here. I actually, you know, I really enjoy the imagery. I hope that it never stops. I mean, I love the commitment that black metal bands have to maintaining their cultness, even though when you talk to them, they're just like a regular guy from Tennessee or, you know, or Austria or wherever. But, you know, when they get up on stage, they're a persona and they have to maintain that. And, you know, in their music, they have to have that edge and they have to put that on their album covers and stuff too. And it's a whole branding thing. And sometimes it can be a little silly, but other times it's pretty badass. And it's, you know, if you do it right, you can make it pretty unique too. So I hope it never goes away.
I mean, I definitely think certain bands do it better than others. Mm-hmm. Garia does a fantastic job. Uwada does a fantastic job. I I've never seen them live, but I've seen clips of them live. Black Braid does a fantastic job of their imagery. So yeah, I'm a fan. I definitely don't mind it. And if you have a friend that's kind of, like you were talking earlier, is kind of scared of that kind of stuff, just take them to one metal show, and I think they'll be converted. They'll realize that it's not like that.
Yeah, I mean, going back to the softer side of metal, Rob Zombie, he puts on one of the best stage shows I've ever seen. He has giant guys that come out in costumes on stilts and like fight with each other, and he has big demon heads that like come out and spin over the top of the crowd, and pyrotechnics and bombshell zombie girls that come out and flash lights around the room, and I mean just like all kinds of stuff you can imagine. It's like a whole stage show and performance, not just music. In my early days when I was first really getting into metal, I saw Zombie live probably 7 or 8 times, and he always put on a phenomenal show. And anytime I had a friend that was like interested in metal, that would be the show I would try to take him to, so they could get a little bit of exposure to what it's really like. Because his music is all about having fun. It's not even really like dark stuff. It's just like riding the back of my Dragula.
See, and that's the one thing that I made sure that I've taken all 4 of my kids to Iron Maiden show. Because I mean, if there's one band that knows how to put on a concert, it's Iron Maiden. And you will never go to an Iron Maiden show, leave there and go, you know what? I've seen better. No, you haven't. So, yeah.
All right. Well, I think that pretty much sums up our thoughts on imagery and metal. Let's go ahead and move on and talk about our pickups. Picked up anything cool recently, Christian?
Well, just today, I was able to pick up the Modern Rites album. Both of those came in today. I've put some pre-orders in for other random stuff, but they haven't gotten here yet. So I don't really want to mention about what I've ordered as much as the stuff that
you have in hand.
Like I've just gotten in hand. So yeah, not a ton of new stuff, but of course, like I said, I did make an order for some t-shirts and a vinyl from Abiensis. So hey, sign that if you can. But other than that, I haven't really picked up a whole lot.
Okay. Well, that's okay. I mean, it's been an amazing week for music, so I'm sure you have a bunch of pre-orders that we'll talk about in a few weeks when you actually receive them. As for me, I got my Okash and Thorn album finally. I ordered it back in March, I think, when the album dropped, and they had all kinds of production delays and stuff. And so I talked to the Bandcamp manager, whoever that was, and he said he could either refund me or I could wait. So I just chose to wait, and I finally got it today. And they actually sent me a free album, a free LP from a different band on their label to make up for the delay. So that was pretty cool. That's a band called Sleep Maps, which I haven't heard before, but it's supposed to be like instrumental black metal. So it could be cool. I picked up the Nyctophobia album, To the Stars, that was at the top of our list a few episodes ago. And I got to tell you, that is the prettiest album I think I own. I posted pictures of it on all the social media, Harsh Vocal site, everywhere. One side of it has like this swirling cosmos, and then the other side has like this fiery nebula. It's beautiful. You got to check it out if you haven't seen it. And then, of course,
I'm still waiting on mine.
Yeah, I was really happy to get it. And it sounds phenomenal on vinyl, too. It sounds even better than it does streaming. So luckily, it's one of those kind of albums. Yeah. I got both of the Modern Rites albums as well. I got my copy of Reclamation Part 2, which I've already spun several times. I got a copy of In Time Signals from Dark Tranquillity. Thank you, Christian. That was my birthday gift from you, so I appreciate that. I got, like I said, Spectral Wounds' latest, Songs of Blood and Mire, and A Diabolic Thirst, both phenomenal. And then I bought tickets to see Gwar and Dark Funeral in November. Pretty excited for that. I've been wanting to see Dark Funeral for years, so very excited they're coming. And Gwar is just kind of an added bonus. I'm not like the hugest Gwar fan, but I hear they put on an amazing stage show, so pretty excited. You want to talk about imagery? I'm pretty excited to see Gwar live. And then, of course,
I actually bought tickets to that too.
Oh, nice.
Dark Funeral. I didn't see Gwar on the bill, so it's just Dark Funeral probably. Yeah,
yours might be a separate leg of the tour for them, but
yeah, I think so.
Either way, I'm sure Dark Funeral is going to just kill it live, so I'm looking forward to that.
Dark Funeral in Des Moines, Iowa. Shocking.
How did that happen?
So, yeah, I don't know. But they're playing this tiny ass little fucking club, so I'm all about it.
Nice. And then I'm going to go see Dark Tranquillity, Amorphous, and Fires in the Distance this coming Monday. So keep an eye out on the website. I'll be posting up a review of the show. I'm probably going to spend way too much money on merch because I like all three of the bands quite a bit. And then...
Might be a problem.
It might be. And then I don't know if you guys have noticed, but the harshvocals.com website has been growing. We've gotten a few new writers, and they're all putting out top-tier quality material. Doc wrote this incredible article about the origins of black metal and whether or not there truly was a first wave or not. If you haven't read it, I would encourage you to go and read it because it's one of the most brilliant pieces I've seen posted on our site so far, and I think everybody will enjoy that. And then several of our other writers have started covering reviews for upcoming albums, and we have some interviews in the works. So I'm really happy with how the site's progressing, and I'm very happy with everybody that stepped up and wanted to write for us. So we are still looking for a couple more. If anybody out there listening is interested, feel free to reach out. I'd be happy to talk to you about it. And, thanks for supporting the show. Thanks for supporting the site. We appreciate all of you. Also, we have a Discord now. I think I mentioned that on the last episode, but just to reiterate. So if you want to chat with us or the writers or, any of our other podcasting friends, the link is on all of our social media. You just have to click on it and you can go to the Discord and join us. You can also follow us on TikTok. Christian has been posting some really cool transition videos about the albums we talk about every week. So appreciate you doing that, man. And then that's pretty much all I've got. You got any final thoughts for everybody?
No, I just want to reiterate what you said about Doc. I wish I could write that well. Holy shit. He's a phenomenal writer.
Well, to be fair,
I'm super, super impressed.
To be fair, he's a published playwright, a published novelist, and an English professor. So he's been a metal fan since he was like 13. So, he's got a lot of experience and a lot of writing chops. So very happy to have him on board. Very happy to have everybody.
Yeah. That article he did about was there really a first wave of black metal? I'd never really given that much thought. And after reading his article, if you really sit back and think about it, like what he was bringing up, Venom was considered the originators of black metal. But if you listen to, those old Venom records, they don't sound like black metal. They certainly don't sound like what we consider black metal nowadays.
Yeah.
So, it's a very, very good point. So, yeah. Fantastic article.
And if you didn't know we wrote articles, now you do. So check out our site, harshvocals.com. And then follow us on all of our social media at harshvocalsite. And then that brings us to our blast from the past. And it was my turn to pick this week. I've been on a AOP kick ever since I listened to the Ellende album. I've been going back and listening to all of Ellende's backlog. And then I started listening to Karg again. Karg is JJ's project from Harakiri. It's his side project. He put out an album that's one of my favorites from the last 10 years called Dornenvogal. And the song I picked is called Petrichor. It features Ellende with him performing it. I don't know if you ever heard it, but it's a beautiful song. One of my favorites off that album, and that's one of my favorite albums from Karg. So felt like it was a good choice for this episode, and hopefully you guys all enjoyed it too. You familiar with that one, Christian?
I am not, but I'll listen to it now.
Okay, cool. Hopefully you like it. And that's all we got. So we will see you guys in a couple of weeks.
With more metal goodness.
Yep.
See ya.
gewöhnt, in die Leere zu schreiben, aus der keine Antwort kommt. Über wen
That